You are going to save so much time, stress, and worry if you dive into your true, authentic self in all areas. Do not wear the multiple hats. Lean into that person that you love with your best friends.
Welcome to this week's episode of Girl X, a weekly conversation with an inspiring woman. I'm Cooper Gillespie, and you heard coaching queen and all-around inspirational human Keiyana Arnold at the top of the episode, discussing how important it is to live in your authentic truth, your authentic self, that self who you love when you're hanging out with your friends. And I don't know about you guys, but I really needed to hear that message this week because I gotta be honest, this week has been a little challenging for me. And a big part of that has been doing some things that don't align with my authentic self. And so I'm going to work on changing those things. But Keiyana has also worked so hard within multinational corporations. I'm talking huge corporations to really focus on inclusion and diversity and making sure that diverse voices get heard. And so I can't wait for you to hear all the wisdom bombs she has to drop on us during this conversation. She's just such a joy to speak with. Without further ado, here she is, Keiyana Arnold. So how you doing?
Cooper, oh my gosh. I am good. I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah. There's a lot going on right now.
There's a lot going on. I'm not okay a lot of days, and then sometimes I am okay, and then it feels like a lot right now. And I can't imagine being a person of color. It probably feels even more like a lot.
It's like, I cannot believe we're in like August, and since March, I cannot believe how much trauma the world has experienced in such a short amount of time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it seems like there's no end in sight. Yeah. Yeah. Seisan just was messaged me. She's like, hi, we got to move out of here. Like, this place is not for us. And I've been saying I'm going to Portugal for a long time, especially if Trump wins, like 100% I'm leaving this country. And I was like, well, come to Portugal.
Are you really?
Oh, yeah. No, if he wins on November 3rd, I am full on leaving the United States of America.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine 4 more years.
No, where we'll be. Well, you did a whole thing. Well, actually, let's back up. Let's start from the beginning, because a lot of people, they need to get to know you. So what's your story? Like, where did you come from? Because I want to hear your journey of like how you are where you are now, where you're coaching people and leading these sort of healing circles and things, which I know Seisan did the last one you did. And she said it was very transformative and just an incredible experience. But where does all that start?
Okay. So to, I guess, give like an introduction of who I am Keiyana, and a lot of people know me as the coaching queen. So on Instagram, I'm at the coaching queen, and I have a self-care and life coaching business. And this business actually started in 2017 as a career coaching business. I was a recruiter in corporate America, and like it was a natural thing for me to like review resumes and prep people for interviews. But I took a pause from the career coaching because I wasn't having that like I didn't feel that natural fulfillment. I was being pulled in another direction. So I used Instagram as a platform to like promote the business and connect with clients. And I would post a lot of like informational, inspirational things like quotes, and I'd go live on Instagram and post on my stories. And I saw more impact and more ability for me to, I guess, influence and impact other people's lives through inspiration, uplifting, empowering, which was in my heart a different direction than career coaching. So I had been sitting on this idea of like self-care coaching for months. And then we went into the quarantine and I was like, you know what? This is the season. This is the time where the world needs my gift, that part of me that comes so naturally to just make other people discover their lives and like uplift them and empower them. And so I started the Coaching Queen as a self-care life coaching business where for me, my mission is to touch an audience that is similar to me, a Black woman, so Black people, women, people of color, and members of the LGBTQ plus community. That's where I identify. And I know for myself, it's been like throughout all these years, I've always looked for someone like wanted like that big sister, that mentor, somebody who kind of fit that mold to help inspire me. And I have had like bits and pieces of that throughout the years of my life, which I'm thankful for. But I now am using the business to like kind of pay it forward. And I have individual coaching sessions that I offer, group programs that I offer, which is the one that Saison participated in. I created a group self-care coaching coaching program called Black Woman Healing Circle. That program in itself stemmed from I think we were at the height of the Black Lives Matter revolution that's taking place now in 2020, right after George Floyd's murder. I myself was like, oh my gosh, I'm a self-care coach and I am like neglecting the fuck out of my own self-care, my own mental health, because I am just in this like constant fight or flight mode. The adrenaline was up. I was out protesting, it all in like sacrificing my own mental health and self-care for the sake of like fighting racial injustice. And I knew if I was struggling with this, someone who practices self-care daily and coaches other people on it, I was like, I know there is another community of Black women who are experiencing the same thing. And so I had 10 beautiful, brilliant, amazing Black women join a healing circle together where we spent 7 days. I curated intentional self-care activities every day. We had a few Zoom check-ins. We had an accountability group that we actively utilized every day. We had moms. We had other queer women. We had people who were out in the streets, also on the front lines as essential workers protesting. And we did a lot of work, and it was very healing to have like that recharge, that energy, that shared connection and spirit with each other of just like, let's help each other through this, get to the root of what our feelings are, sit in them together and come up with ways to like combat that through self-care and love for ourselves.
Yeah. I love you have a post that says self-care is also a form of protest. And I think that's so true. Things like self-care and joy even can be total forms of protest, especially when, in our current climate, I think. So I really loved that post of yours.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, to be Black in America, like our existence is a form of protest for me. So right now, like to see not only Black people, but I'm also seeing a lot of allies who are standing in solidarity, and our stance together, that in itself is a form of protest as well. So
Yeah, definitely. I was really amazed that the NBA canceled the play. I know they canceled one game. I don't know if they canceled more, but just to see a major sports organization stand in solidarity and say, "Yeah, we are going to. This is a protest for us," is amazing considering, the NFL's response over the years. It's pretty cool, I think, that they stood in solidarity with their players. But
oh yeah, I mean, I think it was just last week the NBA, the MLB, and the WNBA, who I just want to shout out the WNBA because these women go hard. They go hard. They're underpaid while they're going hard. Like they are the ones who have been honestly consistently protesting and standing so firm in the Black Lives Matter movement for years. And I don't think they get as much credit as they deserve. But I was so proud to see all of these athletes who have these huge platforms and abilities to influence millions standing up, speaking up, and, making the sacrifice in support of equality and justice in this country.
yeah, it definitely feels like, I wasn't alive during the first civil rights movement, so I can't say how it feels, but the sort of violence and, I don't know, all pervasive struggle. I'm not even sure what the right words are. It's like, I wonder if because this feels very intense, even not being a person of color, to be a part of this time. And it's very upsetting every day for me. So I can't imagine what it's like to be for a person of color. I wonder, I just wonder how this compares, but I guess we can't know because we weren't there, but it definitely feels like that change is happening. And so I guess that is the silver lining, even though it feels very painful.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one piece for me, okay, so if we can get really real here and talk about racism for a second, it's been in existence for hundreds and hundreds of years. Even me, into my 30s now, like I've grown up, and I think around age 5 or 6, that's when I started to recognize, like, okay, there is different treatment. I look a lot different. Life is going to be a lot different. And I think that's when my parents also noticed me recognizing it and started having active conversations with me at that age. So I've grown up understanding that life is just going to be different, harder for you because you are Black and a woman. I remember my parents always telling me, you have 2 strikes against you already. And when I came out and now I identify as lesbian, it's like, oh, well, there's your 3 strikes, you're out, And so I've kind of like grown up just understanding that life is just hard because you're Black, and that's just the way it is. And I think the most triggering part about this quarantine and pandemic is because we've now all had this space to just sit in what life is, do a lot of self-reflection, and there has been a lot of pause, and people are constantly on their phones. They're either recording something, they're watching something, they're posting something, and the police brutality that's taking place in the midst of all this pause and a global pandemic that's already killing thousands daily, I think that is where the impact has just like fallen down on everyone so hard. And for a second, it's almost like this mind fuck where you're just like, wait a minute, I've known racism has existed all this time. Like, why does it feel so heavy now? And I think it's because people around us who are not Black are also waking up and they're like, what? Racism is real? It didn't end? Like, when Dr. Martin Luther King died, like, what? It's here. And I think when Ahmaud Arbery, when he was murdered, that hit the world hard and heavy because it's like, damn, he was just going out for a jog. This is something I do every day. Like, and these strangers targeted him. And then it was Breonna Taylor sleeping in her own apartment
Yeah.
Murdered, which we still haven't had any justice there. And I don't know how many days it's been at this point. But George Floyd, I think the video of him, that 8 minutes and how many seconds long, that video where you are literally seeing someone